Welcome back to the first shots of the GHM9. Now, a lot more happened in the first shots than I expected to happen, than should be expected to happen. So, first of all, I want to get some of the good stuff out of the way. Number one, it's very, very well balanced. It is the upper specifically is incredibly well made and feels like it's worth $3,000. The lower being polymer, I think personally is fine, but I know some people for $3,000 wouldn't want a polymer lower, but it does feel nice. The ambi controls are excellent, kind of. So let me rephrase that. The ambi controls are, in theory, excellent. The one ambi control that was perfect is the bolt release. On both sides, left or right, as you will see in the footage, it is very easy to actuate and it is very easy to get that bolt dropped down as soon as you put a mag in. Because see if I can do this, as you put a mag in, your thumb is already right there, ready to drop the bolt. So that's very nice. The right side mag release is perfect for me. It is exactly as long as I need it to be. That's not going to be true for everyone. I had some friends who shot this as well, and their fingers were a little bit shorter, and so they couldn't really reach the bolt catch or the mag release as easily. They had to reposition their hands. This side of mag release works well, it's just a bit awkward. So, for example, on an AR, when you go and release, your thumb is here and you're pulling down. On this, your thumb is up here and it's kind of awkward to push. It's even for a lefty, which there was a lefty that shot this, he used the right side one. This mag release is a bit awkward, so to speak. It's not bad, it's just, it's not going to be your primary mag release. This is like if you don't have access to the right one. Now, the one thing that I am a little bit disappointed in is the safety selector. Safety selector is quite stiff. Now, you can actuate it, but it takes a lot more effort than it should, especially for a gun this expensive. And it's a great shape, like it's perfect for flicking over. It's just too stiff. I don't know why that is, but it's too stiff. And it didn't get any better from the first 200 rounds that were shot through it. All right. Aside from the controls, what else was good? As always, the muzzle device is pretty good. It's not doing much on an 18.5-inch 9mm, but it's there. And the pistol grip was pretty good. It's basically a Magpul copy. It's a B&T, but in reality, it's a Magpul copy. And the charging handle. The charging handle, to my surprise, was actually quite nice to use. I didn't think, typically, with charging handles that are this narrow and thin, I don't think they're very good. But it was easy to actuate, and everyone seemed to be fine with this when they were using it. And, of course, the recoil impulse on this was very nice. It was a little more jumpy than I was expecting, but it's not that bad. I think if you're shooting small steel targets at like 50, rapid shots are going to be a bit more difficult. But aside from that, I think for most competitions, this will be perfectly fine. I could clear a Texas Star easily, and you'll see in the shooting footage. Now, the rest of it is kind of bad things. So I'll start off with the stock. And it was as I was expecting. It was the first thing that people said when they picked it up. It's too thin. If the GHM9 long, so that's this version with the longer barrel, in the US 16.5, in Canada 18.5, or 16 in the US. That version should come with a different stock. This is a PDW stock, and it makes sense on the PDW version of the GHM9. On this, it just doesn't make sense, and I think that's partially contributing to the jumpiness of the gun when shooting, is that you aren't able to hold it to your shoulder as easily as in comparison to the guns I've reviewed, the K9 or the Raven 9. It's just that it's just a bit too jumpy, and I think it's because of this primarily. Not enough shoulder contact, not enough surface area on the shoulder. It should come with a different stock. It doesn't have to be a buffer stock. It can be B&T makes a bunch of different stocks. It should be that. Okay. Now, the other bad thing was spalling. For the first, I think about 40 rounds, there was actually quite a bit of spalling. I could feel it on my face as a shooter, and my friend to the right of me could feel it a little bit. It seemed to go away for the most part after about 40, but then it did happen randomly once when my friend was shooting it. So I don't know what's going on there. I'm not using like super crap ammo. It's Norma 9mm 124 grain. So I don't really know exactly what's going on there. Hopefully that doesn't happen again in the next 800 rounds, but we'll see. And now the one major problem, and that has to do with the bolt catch. So I'll run the footage here now. So, as you can see here from the footage, the bolt locks back. And that's a good thing. I want the last round bolt hold open to be a thing on this gun. But it's locking back while there's still one round left in the magazine. Now, I don't know why this is happening. Or I should say, I don't know exactly why this is happening. I have some theories, but none of the theories are excusable. And so I will go over that when the footage ends. But this is a nearly $3,000 gun, Canadian. For $3,000, you should not be having any mechanical problems. Point blank, period. No excuse for it. Now, I am aware that this gun was designed with its own proprietary magazine, and there just so happens to be a Glock magazine lower that is from the factory. That does not excuse the fact that it should still work, because it's $3,000. The Glock 1 is the same price. So why this doesn't work is it's a long issue. So, first of all, let's go over it. This is the lower. This is a Korean magazine. Yes, it is pinned, but it didn't have any problem feeding from any of the other Glock mag rifles at the range. This looks just fine for the most part, right? Mag catch is coming up, everything is perfectly fine. This is a Glock magazine. It is a 1010 Glock magazine. It works just fine. This is a Glock 26 magazine, I believe. And of course, 10 rounds. It works just fine. Now, there is a very, very, very slight difference. And I don't know if you're going to be able to pick up on it. The feed lips right along here are just ever so slightly different. On this 1010 magazine, the feed lips are very slightly lower. And when that last round is up, it is not interfering with the bolt catch. Just barely. However, that is not true of these. When the follower is down, it is just barely elevating the bolt catch, which is causing it to lock back when there's still one round left open. And it only happens with one round. And it could be a spring pressure issue, or it could just be that the magazines are ever so slightly out of spec. See, this is a good example. The round should sit about here, but this is its resting position. So it's ever so slightly poking too far up. That's causing it to hold back open. Now, what does that mean in practice? It means that this gun is going to be very, very, very picky with magazines. I had this magazine locked back on the last round twice. This magazine locked back on the last round every single time. This Glock mag never did. And this is also a Glock mag. And my pinned P mags also locked back every single time. So, a $3,000 gun that's picky on magazines. Not a great first impression. So, with that said, that is the first shots. It's a $3,000 gun that feels, for the most part, like a $3,000 gun, but doesn't act like a $3,000 gun. And I can't say I'm not disappointed. There will be another 800 rounds, and I will see if the problem continues. And if it does continue, that's going to be a significant hit on my opinion of the gun. As it stands right now, I still have more testing to do. Still got to see how much this thing ticks. So, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you haven't yet, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video, the Type 81 SR 1000 round review.